No, I think you should go.
I think I should go?
Yeah, I think you should go. I think somebody named Matt should start.
Alright, so I'll be the one to start it off. Okay, so as you guys have seen on the website, probably from the IGN article, we've now announced the rest of the main characters for our game, Chris and Jen. Both of them have had their own unique set of challenges in bringing them to reality. We've got the other Matt here, who's going to talk about their backgrounds and more of their motivations.
Taking the characters from the Mercenaries 1 to Mercenaries 2 was kind of a long, arduous, painful experience. It's hard to say they're changed because we didn't really know anything about them in the first game. They didn't have a lot of dialogue and you didn't get to know them. So what we've done is we've just expanded on what there was.
We were trying to originally push the characters into some pretty radical directions from what originally they were, and I think we pulled that back to refine them to more of what they're...
Yeah, I think we focused on trying to make them iconic. We have to kind of walk a fine line between challenging the players' expectations and making the character kind of too, in one direction, and making them iconic and recognizable.
Originally, Chris was going to be like Mr. T,
like
soldier dude. I mean, should we like?
There was actually a Puff Daddy period, and there was a LL Cool J period, and then there was a Kimbo period. Before there was mixed martial arts, there was this big dude, this big like backyard wrestler dude, and you can see his silhouette in some of the advertising stuff for Mercenaries 2, where you'll see these three heroes off to the side and then Matthias, and the three heroes are in silhouette. Well, one of those heroes is Ava, because she was originally going to be a hero and we kind of demoted her. And if you look at Chris, he's this big hulking guy with this beard. He almost looks like if Isaac Hayes weighed 300 pounds and could kick your ass.
Yeah.
But we ditched that because it was kind of, whoa, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
That's not really the reaction we're going for. Matt's best concept stuff was for characters that never made it into the game. And we went through a long series of other, if we didn't use the three main characters, who would we go with? There was a long period where there was only going to be one hero, because that was just easiest. When you have three heroes, that means you have to do everything three times, and that can be kind of a pain in the ass. We had a great kind of Yakuza samurai.
We had at one point a Latino cop, I believe, who was supposed to be like a burned out kind of guy who was betrayed by Solano.
He turned into the head of the police faction, and then we cut the police faction. We also had one of the recruits in the game right now, actually two of the recruits in the game right now, Ewan, the helicopter pilot, and Ava, the mechanic, were both originally mercenaries. And at one point, when we had 3 or 5 heroes, Ava was one of them. She was Mexican.
Yes.
And she had Matt came up with this great outfit for her. And as we kind of drifted back toward the 3 mercenaries from the first game, we all loved Ava and we wanted to put her in the game, so we made her a recruit.
As the characters developed and as we experimented with different ideas and stuff, we solidified back on the original 3, and we really made a lot of visual improvements as well as as well as also story.
I mean, they're a lot more visually compelling now, and it's a combination of the fact that we have better character models now, we have higher resolution, we spend a lot more time on who are these guys, what do they look like. But I love just zooming in right now and looking at Chris Jacobs. He exudes this great attitude. He's almost like a character from Predator. Chris is the jaded moralist, right? Because there are players who are interested in which side is the right side and whether they're working for the bad guys or the good guys. And Chris is kind of that character. Chris Jacobs is probably the most experienced of the 3 mercenaries. And we granted him this backstory where he went through, Delta Force, the combat applications group, and served in Iraq, and we never say what, but he saw some things that really kind of destroyed his belief in the concept of morality. And so he came out the other side just thinking everybody in the world was no damn good, that people were worthless. And so he's always the voice of the skeptic and the unbeliever in every situation. He thinks that every faction is wrong, and they have their own propaganda. He thinks it's crap. They say these are our ideals, and they say, yeah, but who cares about ideals? They always go out the window as soon as the rubber hits the road. Gosh, I've been talking for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, in each one of those characters of what Matt's been talking about, we reflect in their costumes. He was originally kind of a playboy a little bit in terms of lots of attitude. He still has that kind of edge to him, but what we really did with his character is kind of moved him a little bit more towards the military side. Chris's outfits reflect more of his experience, since he's been in different military backgrounds and gone through a lot more stuff. He's more of a guy who was able to take care of himself in a real military combat zone. We've kind of shaved his head and stuff, made him look a little bit more aggressive and whatnot. He's used much more real-world tactical equipment, black vests, things like that.
Plus, you can see it in his animation too, like just the way he carries himself. He's a very kind of larger than life figure. You know, he's if it wasn't for the fact that he was so bitter, he would be a leader. You know, he would end up like a general.
I'd say that what we've got now, I think it's very iconic in terms of design and also in terms of personality. We went through a lot of changes with the main characters and what we wanted to do and whether they were going to be the original three coming back or not. But I think with what we've got now is very strong.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're great characters. So.